Hello and welcome to Stories of the Sun and Moon, told by me, Dawn Nelson, a professional storyteller with a passion for nature, landscape and heritage connection. As we follow the Wheel of the Year, I will be sharing folktales from the English and Scandinavian traditions that focus on the sun and the moon, the light and the dark, the day and the night. The second stop in our journey is Beltane, one of the 2 points in the year where the veil thins. On May's Eve, it is the fae folk that are visible to the human world, and should we wish, we can step across that veil and dance in the otherworld. But be careful, for there are rules, and there is often a price to pay. This story is for the moon. It is said that in Ireland, amongst the flowering blackthorn, there dwell the fairies of the moon, the Lunantashi. On Beltane night, you may converse with these fearsome fae, and should you choose to, you can strike a deal with the Lunantashi. They will be your creative muse, and offer you inspiration in return for just a few years of your life. But the Lunantashi are not the only fairies of the moon, and it is not just on land that these fairies appear. In the rivers, lakes and meres of England, there dwell a race called the Asrai, and there are tales of those who have tried to keep them captive. This is one such tale. He was not a wealthy fisherman. Fishermen rarely are, and on this particular day he had not caught enough during the sun's hours to keep food on his table and peat on the fire. So it was that he found himself fishing at night, hoping that a fat salmon or sturdy trout would land in his net, lulled into a false sense of security by the creeping darkness. It was a full moon that night, on the last night in April. April is a seed moon, a time to plant the crops in freshly hewn furrows, and the fisherman could see clearly the undulating earth of the surrounding fields where the farmer had been working that day. The moonlight glinted off the ripples in the water as he waited patiently, dragging his net along the bottom of the wide river. The villagers had said it was unlucky to fish there, that this river was the home of the Asrai, but the fisherman had always found it to be good fishing ground, perhaps on account of the superstition that kept the others away. Besides, the Asrai did not have the reputation of other water fae. They were kind and gentle, rarely coming to the surface. In fact, it was said that they only came to the surface once every 100 years. No, they were not like Jenny Greenteeth, forever lurking beneath the surface, likely to drag you down, her claws and teeth tearing at your flesh, her duckweed hair roping itself around you. Neither was she like the child-stealing Nixie of Germany, or the devious and dangerous Welsh Morgan. No, the Asrai were nothing to fear. And so here he was, sat in his boat, waiting for a catch. When he felt the net heavy in his hands, he was ready for it, and pulled it up into the boat with a deft movement, sliding the contents over the stern of the little wooden boat. But there was no fish in this net. At first he thought he had pulled up a bundle of weed, and was about to throw it back when he saw 2 eyes peering up at him from within the weed. A voice, like water running across the shingle, spoke to him and begged him to throw her back. He could not believe his luck. This was an Asrai. As his eyes adjusted, he could make out the green skin, the long riverweed hair, the webbed hands and feet, and the strange beauty in those eyes. The Asrai begged him again to throw her back, but this was a prize the fisherman was not willing to part with. He was thinking of the money he could make. People would come from miles around to view this Asrai, but where would he keep it? This was a creature of the water. No, he had a better plan. If he spoke to the master up at the manor, perhaps he could do a deal, sell the Asrai, and the master could keep it in one of his many ponds with the koi and the goldfish. The master would be most pleased with such a possession. And so, instead of releasing the water fairy, he covered her in reeds and began to row to the manor house at the opposite end of the river. It was a good few miles of rowing, and as he rowed, the Asrai wept and wailed and begged him to return her. He was deaf to her cries and determined in his plan. As the manor house came into view in the distance, the soft glow of the dawn lit up the red roof tiles on the main house. The Asrai reached out from the net under the reeds and pointed towards it, flinching as the light fell upon her clammy green skin. In desperation she grabbed for his wrist, still begging to be returned to the water, but the fisherman shook off her hand and continued towards the manor house. The sun rose, and her cries subsided. The fisherman pulled up to the jetty, wound the painter around the post, and leant forward to lift up the net with the Asrai within it. As he pulled it up from the bottom of the boat, the reeds fell away and revealed an empty net. In the bottom of the little wooden boat, green water pooled, and around it duckweed lay strewn. This was all that was left of the fisherman's catch, for what he did not know was that the Asrai cannot live in the light of day. The fisherman never forgot that night. He could not hear the ripples of the water on the surface of the river without remembering the Asrai's tears. He could not bear the lapping of the stream on the shingle beside it, for it reminded him of her cries as the sun rose. And the mark she had left on his wrist, as her skin was burning in the sunlight, was with him until the end of his days. The Asrai only surface every 100 years. Perhaps this Beltane, when the moon is full, if you are beside the river this year and take care to peer over the banks and into the water, or perhaps they will rise from the watery depths once more. The Tale of the Asrai and the Fisherman is a story based on versions collected by the folklorist Ruth Tongue, which she recorded in the 1970s.